Finland.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm addressing the Security Council on behalf of the Nordic states, Sweden, Norway, Iceland, Denmark, and Finland. And I'm probably given the honor to do this because Finland shares a 1,340-kilometer border with Russia. Now, the Security Council has had Ukraine on its agenda for the last 11 years, with a few results on paper and even less on the ground. At the same time, it's quite clear that the General Assembly has overwhelmingly, on several occasions, condemned the aggression of Russia. The Council was entrusted with the primary responsibility to maintain international peace and security, and I think it's quite safe to say that we have failed in that. Ordinary Ukrainian civilians, and actually Russians as well, are paying a high price for this. Now, quite often I hear words that we need to eradicate the root cause of this war. The root cause is very simple. And the root cause is that Russia is not abiding by this, the UN Charter. It's really as simple as that. It is trying to violate the independence, the sovereignty, and the territorial integrity of Ukraine. Now, the UN Charter lays out the principles that underpin multilateralism. These principles, in my mind, are universal. Every country has taken a sovereign decision to uphold them when joining the UN. They are the minimum common rules at the core of the whole international system. We heard that in a speech from the Secretary General today, and we heard it from the President of the General Assembly. Now, the prohibition of the use of force, sovereign equality, and territorial integrity are fundamental to our coexistence. These rules are violated daily by the Russian Federation in Ukraine. Russia's war of aggression violates the very essence of who we are. It violates the very essence of the UN Charter. If we allow borders to be changed by the use of force, it will set a precedent with global implications. And I look around the room here today, I think most of us have had the experience throughout our history of war as a means of expansion. We've either been the victims thereof or we've been the aggressor. And I always felt that after 1945, we should have all learned our lesson. And many of us probably believed that after 1989, that lesson had been learned and we'd be moving towards some kind of eternal peace. But the truth is that when we don't nurture the international institutions that are the foundations of the peace, like the United Nations, we fail. I think a just peace is in our shared interests, and the solution is quite simple. It's in two phases. The first phase is a ceasefire. Ukraine has accepted it. The United States has proposed it. Europe supports it. But there's only one country that doesn't want a ceasefire, and that is Russia. And the second phase is very simple. You go into peace negotiations. And peace negotiations can last a long time. But they are, indeed, the only way we can get out of this. It's in our interest to ensure that the peace is sustainable and without a relapse. President Zelenskyy has repeatedly called for a ceasefire and high-level negotiations, and Moscow's response has been more missiles and drones. I think the message to my Russian colleagues around this table is it's time to talk about peace. But there are too many people dying as a cause of this conflict. I personally think that today could be a game changer for many reasons. One of them was President Trump's post on Truth Social, which I didn't think left any space for interpretation. it was a clear message that it's time to end this war. And I think Secretary Rubio noted that President Trump is running out of patience. Now, of course, Russia is not operating alone, so we urge all states directly or indirectly supporting the invasion to stop. We live in an era with increasing geopolitical tension and hardening rhetoric in international relations. I think we need to be clear. Might does not make right. Borders cannot be moved by force. Kherson, Zaporizhzhia, Donetsk, Luhansk, Crimea, and Sevastopol are Ukrainian. Membership in this council comes with power, but it also comes with responsibility. Please use that power to stop the killing and pave the way for a just and lasting peace in Ukraine, for the sake of all of us. And let me finish by quoting my mentor, President Martti Ahtisaari, who was a big friend of the United Nations and received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2008. He said that what humans begin, they can also end. Please end this war. Thank you very much.
I thank His Excellency Mr. Stubb for the statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Alar Karis, President of the Republic of Estonia.
President of the Security Council, Excellencies, I speak on behalf of Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, and my own country, Estonia. We thank the Presidency for convening us at this crucial moment for international peace and security. Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine constitutes one of the gravest breaches of international law and the UN Charter since its adoption 80 years ago. Despite repeated calls by the General Assembly to stop the aggression, Russia continues its brutal assault on the Ukrainian nation, which began with the illegal occupation of annexation of Crimea in 2014 and continued with a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. This is totally incompatible not only with the status and responsibilities of a permanent member of the Security Council, but also with those of any UN member state. The scale of human tragedy Russia has inflicted in Ukraine is unimaginable. Millions of homes have been destroyed and families torn apart. Tens of thousands of children have been abducted and deported to Russia, subjugated through so-called re-educational programs with their roots and identity are systematically erased. We continue to call on Russia to grant full access for the UN and independent monitors to the occupied territories, to the prisoner of war camps in Russia, and to the areas under occupation. Russia must return the deported children. Russia must release all civilian detainees. In response to the recent peace effort by the United States, Russia has only intensified its campaign of terror against Ukrainians. Russia has not held back even from targeting and damaging diplomatic facilities in clear violation of the Vienna Convention. The recent violations of Estonian, Polish and Romanian airspace by Russia are yet another escalation and a stark reminder that Russia's aggression threatens not only Ukraine, but the security of the entire region. On Monday, the Emergency Security Council meeting was convened to discuss the grave violation of Estonia's territorial integrity by Russian armed fighter jets. Allow me to thank all 50-plus countries who called out Russia's action as dangerous, reckless, and in violation of international law. President, Russia is not interested in peace and security, neither in Ukraine nor in Europe.